Matt Hardy Sport has said something that has kind of really made my ears prick up and take notice. Liverpool have the funds to test Newcastle's resolve despite the spending spree this summer. Newcastle are concerned an offer could be made early next month for Isak. I don't know, lads. Again, it isn't going away. Every time we talk about, well, will we even go for a number 9? Is it likely that Liverpool will dip their toes in the water? Things change again, and we're going to talk about exactly how much wiggle room Liverpool have with PSR. We'll talk about that in a couple of moments. Let's talk about the PSR situation because this is rather interesting. So Dave Powell, who is the Echo's football finance guy, said that Liverpool could spend another £200 million in the market this summer and still be PSR compliant. Let me say that again because it sounds so good. Liverpool could spend another £200 million this summer and still be PSR compliant. That would mean that we would have spent, in this scenario, let's say £390 million and still had no issues with PSR. So keeping your powder dry for those years has landed us quite well now and given us that wiggle room to go out there and, well, make some big moves in the transfer window. Alex said, not believing Matt Hardy, need to hear from Jeff. I get it. I get the reference, mate. I get it. Hardy boys, I get it. TLC, all the way. Right, I was thinking there, what's Matt Hardy done? But yeah, Edge and Christian going to have something to say about that as well, Alex. SDO said, do we get a new centre forward if Nunez leaves but Diaz stays? The plan is yes. Liverpool want to go out there and bring in a forward, but it depends on the options. My personal belief is that the centre forward position will be probably the last one that we see get sorted this summer. We've always known that we would have to move Darwin on before looking to the market. What we do know is, well, the options are still there, right? So Ekitike, he seems to be waiting around to see what the best proposal is. We know Liverpool's situation with Isak. We're fond of him. He wants to come to us. And he does, by the way. He does want to come to Liverpool. But he's a Newcastle player, and you've got to respect that as well. If you can't come to an agreement with Newcastle or they're unwilling to sell for a price that, well, is reasonable, he'll remain a Newcastle player. But they don't want an unhappy player on the hands either. Could Isak, Fofana and Gay be at Liverpool at the end of the window? Well, certainly Fofana and Gay are very possible. Isak, I don't know, man. You know, it's not going away, is it? I still find it very difficult to believe that it's going to happen. I do. I'd love it to happen, man. But, you know, the numbers are just insane. We're talking about numbers that we've never seen in England being spent. You know, £150 million upwards. So, yeah, I'm still dubious on that one, Stevie boy. But what do you think? I mean, I do enjoy our exchanges every night, my man, and I enjoy your contributions to the community. But what do you think? Do you think we're going to get Isak? Said, I've read things that Isak was quoted in January and could also include Jota going the other way. Thoughts? Again, I've seen lots of stuff about Diogo Jota potentially going to Newcastle, or that Eddie Howe's interested in him, but it feels like if this is to get done, it's going to be a late deal. That's my take on it. Now, what I'm really interested to find out is, do Liverpool put all their eggs in that basket? Do we sit and play this out all summer? Because if you miss Isak, and let's say Ekitike has gone elsewhere, well, we'll be left in a pretty awkward position. So I'm sure that the club have a plan for it. And it would be absolutely unfair of me to come on here tonight and start berating the club's transfer policy this summer when they've started off so well. We've seen Richard Hughes tie down Mohamed Salah and Virgil to new deals. We've obviously seen the three boys come in. And by the way, on a personal level, I am breathing a big sigh of relief because I promised you those three signings and they're all in now and they're all signed up, and I'm certainly feeling a little bit more relaxed about life in that sense. But I want to say a little thank you to everyone for sticking with us, because I know it was a bit tetchy at times there where we were worried that these deals were taking a bit longer, but most of you stayed here and continued with your support and belief, and it means a lot to me, so thank you for that. I'll never intentionally try to steer you wrong. Zashim Uden said, Craig, I'd rather pay 100 million plus for Alvarez. The problem there, from what we can understand, is that Julian Alvarez just doesn't want to come back to the Premier League. And when you've got Barcelona kind of flashing their eyelashes or fluttering their eyelashes at him, and noises that he is a little bit unhappy with how the first season went there with Atletico Madrid and the fact that they weren't really delivering success, Yeah, there could be something next summer, a possible exit for him. But unfortunately, at this point, I would say it's more likely that he ends up at Barca as a potential Robert Lewandowski replacement down the line. I have a feeling they put everything into Isak. It would be a team for the ages. Get ready for no signings for 3 more seasons. If it happens, I'm all in. You know what? I wouldn't complain if we went a couple of windows without a signing, unless there was a serious injury, because we are really front loading the team at the minute and building it for, well, Liverpool 3.0, if you want to call it that. And thank you, Sebastian. Keith said, are Liverpool putting in a bid for Isak? I don't know, my man, but so many reports over the last few days have said that we're certainly not ruling it out. It's not looking like it's coming anytime soon, but there's also been a few bits and pieces that suggest that he wants to join Liverpool. And that I find very interesting. Thought Isak would happen for ages now. They will ask 200. We'll start at 120, get him for 150. Ready to be shot down if wrong, said Liam. Look, let's ask it again then. Because I've asked this a few times, but I am always intrigued by the fluctuations in the answers. So, will we sign Isak this summer? I know I've asked this question a few times before, but let's go back to it. This is really interesting though from Lewis Steele, again sticking with Isak. He said, it is not one to completely rule out just yet, Isak to Liverpool, but there is a strong feeling in the industry that the next month of the window will be more about balancing the books with sales. Without them, there is no chance they could afford a mega money striker. Newcastle are quoting 200 million as a fee, but the fact they're talking about money must mean they're slightly worried. And his long-term future at St James's Park in terms of a new contract remains uncertain. Here's Matt Thielen with more news on Isak. Alexander Isak would not cost Liverpool £200 million. Newcastle have named a price rather than saying he's off limits when Liverpool first registered their interest in the summer during the January transfer window. Positive. So he thinks, again, it's possible. And to be fair to Matt, he's always been that optimistic on it. Craig, why don't we get, who's that? Oh, do you mean Osimhen? And Voltmade and sell Nunes and Jota both give great ability and both are not injury prone. So Osimhen, as we've said, there's been some chatter that Liverpool have offered a swap. And again, I can't say this to be true or untrue, I don't know. But there's been talk that Liverpool offered Chiesa and Darwin in exchange for Osimhen, and we're told they would want 15 million on top of those two. But his name has been mentioned. I don't know information on the striker situation, so I can't tell you who's likely or who isn't. Said, would you do Elliott and Jota for Isak and 70 million? Let me quickly run those numbers in my head. No, because that values him in my head at £150 million. And I don't think he's worth £150 million. I think he's worth, really, like without any of the nonsense, probably £85 to £90 million. But in this window, probably 120 would be as high as I'd go. Because remember, like, he's a really good player. He has injury concerns. He is right into his prime now, but like, is he £150 million forward? Taking away our need for a forward, and I just don't think he is. I just don't. I don't know how anybody with an injury record like that could be £150 million. So for me, I'd be closer to 30 million plus those two players to get a deal done if it was possible. I feel like Isak will happen next season. I don't think Liverpool will buy him next season. I think the owners will look at him as too old. And I've read a few articles from journalists that have said something similar, that it kind of does feel like, not to go all Barcelona on this, but it is a kind of now or never situation. So let's wait and see what happens. You know, every time we sit here and talk about the fact it's unrealistic, the stories just keep coming out. Every day there's a new one, a new optimism, a new talk of Liverpool not going away. And, you know, it might come down to how pushy he is for it. You know, if he makes it very clear he wants to leave, you know, let's wait and see what's possible.